And now, making their way into the arena, hailing from the great pro wrestling state of Massachusetts, they are the hosts of the Top of the Cage podcast. Here are Bill and Juice.
And thank you again, Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, always making us sound so good. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the super producer. I am Bill, joined always by my tag team partner, my wrestling confidant. He is the future booking genius and the prince of pro wrestling podcasts. He is Justin Juice Cannon.
Boom.
Boom, baby.
Juice Cannon, baby.
Well, Juice, this week we welcome on somebody that Rich Palladino has mentioned plenty of times in an introduction. He is the Spartan Superhero. He is Air Sparta. He is El Espartano. And I gotta say, before we get going here, this is a great dude, a great social media presence. We talk about it too. He has great gear, great merch, which, by the way, you're going to learn he designs himself. And yeah, I think that El Espartano is somebody in the New England scene right now you guys have to be on the lookout for.
Yeah, I think this is the first person, not just coming out of Chaotic and NEPA that we've talked to, but in general, that puts emphasis not just on the matches, because he can go in the ring, man. He's had some great matches recently and just in general. But this is the guy that puts emphasis on character building and storytelling. It was great learning his psychology and his takes on things that are just a really great mindset. I think it's going to take him pretty far and really set him apart from everyone else. And also, like you said, his social media presence, even that, it really stands out from everyone else. I think this is someone that if you're a listener that's not from the New England area, you're not really familiar with Chaotic, you haven't checked out, just go to Twitch, watch it. I recommend it. You can go to YouTube and find it too. But I think this guy that everyone should pay attention to. I think his mindset will take him pretty far.
Yes, and we will not hold you back from this interview any longer. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is El Espartano.
Hello, Top of the Cage listeners. I am Juice, joining my co-host and tag team partner, Bill, as always. And we got another interview for you with the winner of the New England Pro Wrestling Academy rookie tournament. Is that Rising Star tournament? What was the official name?
Just the NEPWA tournament.
The NEPWA tournament. Well, the winner of the NEPWA tournament himself, the masked man of mystery, it is El Spartano.
Hello, thank you guys for having me tonight.
No problem, man. We're excited to have you and talk with you and find more about the man of mystery, the guy who always just seems to disappear without a trace.
Yeah.
And I mean, we talked about that, your legendary promos. I mean, I know you can't really reveal the secret, but like, how do you just disappear? Why do you just disappear mid-conversation? I mean, it's a superhero thing, but
well, I was inspired by Batman, so he kind of it's kind of where I got that from. I can't tell you the secret. I can't give it away, but you'll probably see more of it.
Obviously, Espartano is quite the interesting character, not something that we see very often here in the New England indie scene. So I know you're relatively fresh in the world of professional wrestling, but when it came to creating a character, especially somebody like El Espartano, what was the inspiration behind it?
So I was doing I was on a trip for school a few years ago, and we were in Costa Rica, and we were working on a house. And it was actually the first time I've ever told the story. And so like everyone, we were building this house, and everyone else kind of went back up to the street we were on, and the locals had like watermelon and things like that for us. And was myself, and it was these two Nicaraguans that were still working on this house. So they just started like chanting from the movie 300, no surrender, no retreat, that is Spartan law. And they started calling me El Espartano. And this was before I was interested in wrestling, in becoming a wrestler. So once I kind of made that decision and I was thinking of a character, it was just, oh, let me go with the Spartan. And so I was all in on the Spartan, and I was like, how can I kind of pay homage to the way it started and El Espartano? And I was like, wait, hey, Lucha Libre, hello. Granted, it's not Mexican, but still Hispanic. So I kind of started to blend my different inspirations there, and we got El Espartano. And kind of over this past year, I figured out kind of who I am, who I was, and we got the superhero out of it. So
very cool. I do like the El Espartano character, and obviously, like we talked about at the beginning, you are the winner of the NEPA tournament. So how long have you been in the industry for? I know you've been training at NEPA, but how long in total have you been doing it?
So I've been on shows about a year and a half, probably a little bit over. And then I started training in August of 2020. So a little over 2 years now.
And what inspired you to start at NEPA itself?
It was the closest place to me.
Fair enough.
It was when I was doing research, it was the first place that popped up, and I saw the lineage, and that was kind of undeniable. So I was like, I might as well go to the best school around. I walked in on a Tuesday, put down my deposit, and never looked back.
NEPA being a feeder into Chaotic 2, the birthplace of stars, it definitely makes sense. You want to make sure you're getting it from the best. And of course, there's guys like Chase Del Monte and Max Smashmaster who are there running classes. And do you think just like the caliber of trainers, not only just the repertoire of people they have graduate from NEPA, is really what sets them apart from some other wrestling schools?
Oh, for sure. And I mean, we have people who've graduated come back every now and again, and they'll sit in on a class. We've had Ivar and Dijak and a lot of people come back and help. And then, just having Chase, who's been doing it for a long time and knows this area, and just he knows everything. Same with Max Smashmaster. A couple other trainers have come through, and it's just a great training, and it's also just a great atmosphere. And since I've been there, we've just all like really embraced each other as almost a student body, really, and become more of a family.
And that must help too, especially as you're starting to learn. Wrestling's a big game of trust, and I'm sure having that group of people around you that you trust helps you guys not only just improve, but work as hard as you can.
For sure. And it's funny because we really love each other. We're all very competitive, so it's really healthy competition, but it's still, we're trying to be the best. So
now, I don't want to pull the curtain back here too much, but is there like one of your classmates that you that pushes you harder than anybody else?
I don't know about one in particular. Like, it sounds super cliche, but kind of everybody. I think I'd say maybe Mortar, coming off of Pandemonium, having just worked with him. That's fresh in my head, but he in class, he pushes me, not even necessarily physically, but like thinking about wrestling psychologically, which is another cool thing about NEPWA, is that we really hammer the psychology of wrestling. And there's been a couple times I've even told trainers, like, yeah, that class kind of messed me up in the head, because I totally have a new perspective on how to call a match now, how to put things together and have a storyline make sense. And it's just different perspectives from different trainers that I kind of pull from to kind of see what I think makes the most sense. And sometimes they throw you a curveball, and it's like, oh, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, we've talked to plenty of people who continue to work through NEPA, and it truly is just this like upper echelon of wrestling
Mhm.
class and culture. And it really is a testament to see not only people like yourself, but you mentioned them, Mortar too, another former guest. We had him on a few weeks ago, and all you guys are just so intelligent when it comes to the ring. And again, I think that's just a testament to the trainers over at NEPA. They're all doing a great job on all you guys.
Yep. Yeah, they really are.
And of course, keeping on topic of New England Pro Wrestling Academy and the tournament that you were the faithful victor of, talk us through, kind of how the tournament got put together, kind of what you were told and some of your favorite moments from it.
So I heard going into Summer Chaos that we were going to be having this tournament, and that was kind of it. I didn't really know many of the details, and someone was kind of filling me in, and I was like, oh, I'm in the Summer Chaos Scramble. Like, oh, that's cool. So I was in that, and then I won it. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I came to find out that I received that first round bye, and I was kind of bummed because I was kind of watching for a couple months, and I was really itching to have some matches, but I'll take that that semifinal slot if I can get it. And then it was really cool between Summer Chaos and the semifinals when I faced Che Long. He and I had traveled a lot in those few months, and we really became good friends. So it was really fun to work with him in Dover. And same with Jeriel, the following show. So the scramble was probably not my top moment, but it was really special because that was my first like really big win in Chaotic, especially in Lowell in front of that crowd. It's a really cool atmosphere there. Winning the tournament was kind of spoiled by Jeriel's reaction, so but it was a lot of fun to work with Che. Working with Che, that semifinal match was probably my favorite.
So then that scramble match, I'll be honest, we are both there in person. I'm not gonna put mouths in the mouth of Bill, but I was honestly surprised that you were the winner in that. But it was a nice surprise, and it was a nice swerve. I like a good swerve.
Yeah.
Were you shocked that you were little break in the barrier here, but were you shocked that you were booked to win that? Like, when did you find out?
Oh man. Maybe a week or two before, something like that. And it was funny because I forget who it was. Someone was joking like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna win the scramble," and I was like, "Yep." Mm-hmm. And then it was shortly after that I was called into the office, and I was told, and I was like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, it was cool.
So now that we are past the NEPA tournament, of course, you were unsuccessful at Pandemonium, which,
Yep.
it is unfortunate. But as with many wrestling stories and many wrestlers themselves, the wrestling life goes on. So within Chaotic, what's next for El Espartano?
I believe the plan was that I was going to start working with my buddy Che. Slight bump in the road. Che broke his hand. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. I might have to find me a new partner.
Well, we definitely wish Jay a speedy recovery for that. That's very unfortunate. I know, like yourself, he's another bright young star coming through this New England scene right now.
Yep.
And then in terms of 2023 overall, I mean, I know we are about 2 weeks into it at this point. I don't know if you're a type of person who takes the new year to set goals or reflect on the past or anything like that. But, with your career also being, just about 2 years long too, what goals do you have coming into 2023 beyond Chaotic?
So one goal in Chaotic, just to knock it out. I'd really love to be in All Out War next year. Because Spartan, it writes itself. And I'd like to get into that and not be a hardcore wrestler, but try something different, rather than just having regular matches. Outside of chaotic, one of my goals is to work for Let's Wrestle, and another one is to then work for Limitless. Those are my three main goals going into 2023. And I'm sure along the way I'll have more.
Have you had any contact with Randy Carver of Limitless and Let's Wrestle yet?
I have. I was up at the dojo, the Limitless dojo in Brewer. We've done some tapings up there. And yeah, they have a show coming up in February. That's all I'll say for now.
Well, we will definitely await for more information with bated breath. That is for sure.
Yep.
And of course, a promotion that you recently worked for, and that's actually the place where we all had our first conversation starting to get you on the podcast, was Pug Pro Wrestling. And I have to say, and this is the first time we've really talked about it on the podcast, Pug Pro was a fucking fun show. That was so fun. What was it like working on the show?
It was fun. It was just kind of AG wanted to put it all together, from my understanding, to just kind of let people try stuff and just kind of have fun with it. And I think that's exactly what happened. And I guess, everyone was saying that it was a banger of a show. So that must translate, across the barricades that weren't there. But it was a lot of fun for me because I've never worked with AG and I'd never worked with Ichiban either. I'd worked with Armani a little bit, but not in a while. So it was cool to not only be in a fatal four-way multi-man match in my school, but to work with two new people, especially AG, was really cool. It was a lot of fun. And to hear the way that just all four of us talk about wrestling in different ways. And it was really cool to bring those different thought processes together and kind of, like I was saying before, see what makes most sense to me, what I can take from those guys. Because they've been doing it longer, they've done more, they've done different things. So it's cool to pick people's brains. And just across the board, it was a lot of fun matches.
Yeah, one thing that really drew it to me as a fan of wrestling is how small and intimate the venue really was. I know we, being me and Juice, have toured NEPA before. We kind of watched a class and saw how everything was run there. So we knew what the inside looked like before we got in, but the whole way there, we were like, I wonder what it's going to look like. What's the setup going to be? Because we weren't there for any of the chaotic tapings during like the pandemic. We didn't really watch too much at that point, but yeah, like it was really impressive. I was wondering what happened to the second ring. Was it just like the backstage area was all around it?
Yeah, we broke the whole ring down and it was up against one of the walls there. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I was really curious because we were like in the front row. So we were sitting like with where the entrance was. And I was like, wasn't there a ring over there?
Yeah. Yeah. No, we broke it down. We had a class that morning. We all broke it down afterwards.
Gotcha. Very cool. Yeah. What was the backstage feel like about Pug Pro though?
So AG was running around doing his thing because he was booking the show. So he had a lot to do. So it was kind of like he'd walk by us and be like, hey, what do you think about this? And he'd give us a little bit of feedback and then run back off. So it was a lot of piecing it together, but also it was just fun to watch because we were watching it from back there as well.
Yeah, I was curious if you guys were having the opportunity to, because like I said, it truly was just a fun show. Like I just had so much fun, and I hope that there's going to be more Pug Pros in the future.
Me too. Because I don't know what his plan is. I know he's going to Japan, and Ava's going over to Germany, so they might be on hold for a little while. But I hope when they're both back in the States, I hope they continue.
I also hope that GM Pug can make his return too.
I want to have GM Pug wrestle my dog. I think that would be great.
What type of dog do you have?
I have a border collie. So he's a little bit bigger, but he's not huge.
Tell AG and he'll book that as next main event.
Right. I think make it a tag match. AG and GM Pug versus me and my dog,
That's you definitely got to let him know, man. That's the $1 billion match.
Right.
Forget
funny, man.
intergender. That's interspecies right there.
Interspecies match.
And we are dog people on the podcast here too, so we're gonna keep asking about your dog, by the way.
Okay.
So
Okay.
what's his name and how old is he?
He'll be 2 in April. His name is Blaze, but his work name is Spear, the Spartan Superdog. So I'm trying to get him a cape.
I love that. I love
Yep.
that so much. Very cool. Yeah, I mean we're totally dog people here. No cats. I don't know if you're a cat person at all or not either, but
No, not as much.
no. I feel like it's not the Spartan way.
No.
I have to ask too. I meant to ask this when we were talking about how kind of you got the gimmick in place, but we do have 2 movies that we want you to pick from, and they're both, like warrior Spartan based movies. And of course, one is 300, but the other is Gladiator. I don't know if you have an opinion on which is better comparatively.
I've seen bits and pieces of Gladiator, but I don't know that I've actually sat down and watched it start to finish. I have watched 300 start to finish a couple times, so I got to go with 300.
Juice is our resident movie buff here, so I'll let him say any opinions he has on that. But
And I love 300. I think 300 is the more rewatchable. Like I can watch 300. Like if it's just on TV, I'll put it on. Like I can watch that dozens of times. It's great in background. It's fun. But if I'm talking about like a quality, like Gladiator used to be my favorite movie for I don't know how long, probably a good like 10 years. So that's always got a close space in my heart. But both are fun. But I mean, you're El Espartano. You got to choose 300, man.
Yeah.
So makes sense.
I haven't watched the sequel. Have you seen the sequel?
I did. It
How
was
was
not
it?
very good.
No.
It's not good. Nah, it's nowhere close. I'm kind of being nice, to be honest. I'll just give my honest truth. It was one of the worst movies I've seen. It was terrible.
You just saved me a couple hours of my time.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like it's got some cool fights, but even that, the fights just are nowhere near as good. And it's just the actings. It's just not. I don't know. Without Gerard Butler and
Right.
Lena Headey, it's just not the same. It's just nowhere close.
And of course, part of the El Espartano gimmick too is your ring gear. Obviously, when you enter the ring, you have your mask and cape, and you also have the different variations of it. I know we are fond of the gold and the blue. Which do you like better?
The blue, I guess probably because it's the most recent. It's new, but also I've designed all my gear. And I designed that based on Adam West's Batman. So that's why you see the gray and the blue rather than kind of what you see from Batman now, which is primarily black with a little bit of gray. So I wanted to take his colors and kind of like super modernize it, because that was not that that's what got me into superheroes, but that I used to watch the 1966 Batman, the whole series. I used to watch out with my dad on the weekends and stuff. So it's special to be able to pay homage to him. But I really like the way that my red gear came out. I like them all really, but the blues definitely, since it's the newest and with the little sentimental value, it's probably my favorite.
I didn't realize it was Batman inspired. That's awesome. Batman is what got me in the comics and superheroes when I was a kid. Who's your favorite Batman and who's your favorite Joker?
Ooh, wow. I think Ben Affleck was an okay Batman. I'll say that. I don't know about my favorite. I really liked Adam West as well. I was never fond of growing up. I was never fond of the Dark Knight trilogy, which I used to get a lot of hate for. So maybe like as a concrete answer, Michael Keaton, but I also don't think he totally killed it. Joker, I have to say Heath Ledger. But I also really liked Jared Leto's Joker because I thought it was very different and it was a little more timely than things that we've seen in the past. That's for live action. I guess Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, though, if I were to dip into animation, they're both like we're upper echelon.
Yeah, they're both my favorites completely. Kevin Conroy is my favorite Batman, and
Yeah.
Mark Hamill. I love Heath Ledger; he's amazing. But Mark
Yeah.
Hamill, Mark Hamill's one of my favorite actors. And it's mainly because of Joker. He's just perfection.
Yep. Yeah.
I was getting a little worried there because I was gonna. I don't really want to have to roast him after saying he's inspired by Batman for the gear. But you did save it. I'll say that. Because when you said Jared Leto Joker, I was like I agree with you though. I want to say like I agree with you that about like the making it a little newer, fresher, and like the different take on it. But like he was just like so a little too over the top in a way, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
No, he was.
I think it was funny, like the Teen Titans Go show, like they all had to impersonate Joker, like, and Robin did it in like this over the top, like overtly sexual way for a child's cartoon, by the way. And like it was so fucking funny though, because everybody was like, bro, Jared Leto, like out of all the Jokers you could have chose to be. That one was good. That got me good. But, and I have to ask too, because we're talking about the gear itself. You said that you design it. Do you make it yourself too?
I don't make it. So I've had a couple different places where I've gotten gear. But I have designed every single thing that I've ever worn, from mask to the tights to the kick pads and knee pads, everything. So I started with my gold gear, which was pretty simple. It just had the 2 gold spears on either leg, and it had my name on the back. And then I tried to do something along the same lines with the red gear, where I have the spears coming up the side, but it has a little more of a design element to it. That gear I got through No Gimmick Gear, and she's great. She makes a lot of gear for people on AEW and all that. And then she also made the Batman gear. But I've also gotten a couple cheaper pairs of gear just for if we have like outside shows, things like that, and I don't want to get my more expensive gear dirty. So I have a couple more pairs of gear that I wear every now and again. I actually wore it at Pug Pro. There was a new pair. And then I have a black and red pair that I'll wear too. So, but I've also designed those.
And I have to ask too, because on your social medias, you post these like killer comic book inspired graphics. Are those your work too?
Yep. I've made all of those.
Very cool. Those are super cool. I really like those.
Thank you. I had one for Kevin Conroy when he passed. I made one for him. And then I also made one with my dog on it back in, I want to say July or August. So, yep. And then I just posted one a day or two ago with Mortar on it. That one was cool.
That one was really cool. That was actually the one that inspired me to ask the question. When I saw that, I was like, that's so cool. Because like I'm more of like industrial design background. So I definitely appreciate a good design. Do you yourself have like more of a graphics design background?
Yeah. So I went to school for journalism, and then I had to take graphic design. So I kind of stole that skill from school.
We just talked about your awesome gear, but you also just have the top merch in Chaotic, man. Like your hoodie that you're wearing right now is awesome. I got at the Pug Pro show, I got your little sticker, which I just love, and you got the blue one too. Do you make the designs for all that too, or how does that? Is it a different process for that than the gear?
So I start everything. Yes, I did design the stickers. I start everything with a sketch, because doing stuff I use Photoshop. Doing stuff in Photoshop can take some more time. So if I don't love a sketch, then I'm not going to waste my time trying to digitalize it. But yeah, the stickers, all my gear starts with a sketch. And then if I like it, I'll usually find different colors online that are kind of a little more specific for what I'm going for, so that it makes the gear maker's job a little bit easier, so she kind of knows what I see in my head. But we also talk about different fabrics and stuff. And then I actually hand drew the stickers based on a couple different things. I'll put them all together. And then I had them printed.
I will say good merch is definitely what can set you apart. And, from the character and the merch, and like I said, the killer comic book post on social media, you're definitely making your stride. And I think that the character of Espartano is something that I'm very interested to see as we kind of move through 2023 and beyond.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, man. So we are reaching the end of the interview here. And before we wrap up, we have one question that we always ask everybody. And it's a kind of cliche question. It's probably a question you've been asked before, but we like to ask it anyway. We would like to know what your dream match is of all time. And that can be with any opponent in any stipulation match, any era, any arena. It's your dream. We let you live it. So you can tell us what it is.
I guess so. I was asked a similar question before. It was I think it was like WrestleMania moment. But if I could do anything, I'd pick the same opponent. It would be Bray Wyatt. And I would love to do a cinematic match with him. Because Randy Orton is my wrestling idol. So sometimes when I've said Bray Wyatt, people are like, why? And I'm like, he's probably the most creative person in wrestling now. And his skits and stuff are things that I strive for. I've been doing a lot of skits recently. So I think to have him as a big bad villain for me to take down, it would be something crazy. I can't even imagine what it would look like.
And that's a great, unique answer too. I mean, anybody who follows this podcast knows Juice and I are like the biggest Bray Wyatt marks there are in the world.
Yeah.
Like he is somebody that I'm instantly drawn to. Cause like for me as a kid growing up, it was always The Undertaker. And I loved the aura. I loved the spookiness. I loved like the vignettes, the way he talked, the way he acted. And then when Bray Wyatt, with the Wyatt family kind of came through NXT and then came on the main roster, I was like, okay, I don't know who the hell this guy is, but he has like, obviously I knew he was Husky Harris because I'm not, I have two eyes that aren't broken. But I was just like, oh my God, like the character work, the promos, everything is spectacular. And like, he has had like his fair share of like the kind of, I don't want to say crapshoot because they weren't that bad, but like the Randy Orton cinematic match was like, I know some people weren't really too fond of it, but for me, it's like, that's innovative. That's wrestling trying to try something new and different. And that's like all Bray does is just try these new and different things. And 9 times out of 10, he'll knock it out of the park too.
Yeah.
So hey, I am totally for that. And like if it's anything like the Firefly Funhouse match, because kind of like that's the same story in a sense of like, Cena was like the super Cena and it went through his whole career. And Wyatt was like trying to open his eyes to his past mistakes or past whatever. And I think that could be really fun.
Yeah. That's another goal you can write down, is to keep trying new things and just differentiating wrestling and not having it be just match promo. And like I've started to do that with the skits, but small spoiler, I'm planning something a little bit more with those. And I think I'm in a cool position as a superhero, with superheroes being so prevalent in media today. We're going to try to do a little something cool. So I hope you guys check it out when it all comes to fruition.
Absolutely, we will. And we do have a part 2 to that question. I'm not going to let you sneak by too quickly without getting the part 2. But so typically when we ask that question, we get either a current wrestler or an inactive wrestler. So what we want to ask you is the same question, but this time you can choose any wrestler not currently active, and they can be dead or alive too.
Maybe I have a couple I'm deciding between. And that's Ultimate Warrior, Andre the Giant. Just because I think they'd be cool to see those characters collide. Undertaker too. Kane, just the kind of the big villains that you've seen in WWE history that are not, I guess you could say, gimmicky. But I think like you said, like the mystique of the Undertaker, like those kind of characters who have that kind of presence, I think it'd be really cool to see El Espartano go up against.
I really like that you're thinking of it in like the terms of your character too. Like I feel like the second you said Ultimate Warrior, like I knew exactly where your mind was going. Same thing with Andre and like Kane and Undertaker too. It's like I see exactly what's working. And I think that's a testament to you too, brother. Honestly, that seems like you have very in tune with this character and willing to let it grow. And like you said, superheroes are always cool. So I'm down for a superhero character.
Yep. I'm trying to do the superhero gimmick, but not make it hokey. Because I feel like that hasn't really been done before. So
totally.
Yeah.
Well, Espartano, with the last few minutes of our show here, we always like to let the guests plug and promote anything they have going on, be it merch, social media, appearances coming up, things like that. So with that, the floor is yours.
So you can find me on social media, on Facebook as El Espartano, on Instagram at air_Sparta. That is also my Twitter. I'm on YouTube where you can check out my skits. They're also on Instagram. That is also El Espartano. Appearances coming up. I have February 3rd. Chaotic will be in Tewksbury. I guess I'll say it. I'll be at Let's Wrestle on the 4th, February 4th. That's all I have right at the moment, I think. Merch, you can catch me at shows, or I don't promote it a lot, but you can also just DM me for merch. Maybe I should start promoting that. But give me a follow on Instagram. I promise you won't be disappointed. I try to stay really active and post really good quality content on there that, like we've talked about, really deepens the character. So
very cool. Well, Espartano, we appreciate your time tonight, brother. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you for listening to that great interview from El Espartano. And it was a fun time talking to him. And like I said in the intro, man, he's smart and he thinks in a different way. And also he just has good taste in Batman and in comic books. I mean, big Batman fan. I love that that's like part of the character, and he's disappearing vignettes and promos he's been doing. And he said that he has a really cool idea that he's working. So I'm excited to see that. I can't wait. I'm definitely just watching the chaotic well, his social media and chaotic social media, waiting for it to see what it is. Because he just thinks in a different way. And I'm excited. I'm giddy, man. I'm giddy as the fan that loves Bray Wyatt, spooky, the storyteller guys. I love that shit.
Mm-hmm. And I have gone on this record on this podcast plenty of times to say like characters draw me to wrestling. And I think El Espartano coming up in 2023 is going to be somebody that really evolves a character that has a relatively simple concept, but is very complex and has a lot more layers to it than I think you'd expect. From the gear references to even just the gear itself. It's very cool, flashy, really makes you pay attention when he walks into a room. And I think, again, he's just a great reason that NEPA is one of the best wrestling star producers in the world. They don't call Chaotic the birthplace of stars for nothing. And I think El Espartano, as Juice mentioned, has the right mindset for the business. And even talking with him off air too, he's just a stand-up dude and somebody that I think will go very far in this industry.
Yeah. Also, another thing that we talked about, all these things that sets him apart from everyone else. Another thing is that you talk to everyone prefers to be a heel. But when we were talking to him, and he was talking about his dream matches and everything, it was pretty clear that he wants to be a face as much as possible. Like, he didn't even talk about possibilities going into heel. And I actually love that he really wants to driving this character as a face, and that also is just unique. Everyone likes being the bad guy, but he wants to be the superhero.
And if you guys have any questions further for El Espartano, you can find him on social media, or of course, you can tag us too on social media, and you can let us know what you thought of this interview tonight. And Juice, where can the people do that?
So you can go to the Twitter and you type capital T, capital O, capital T, capital C, underscore capital P, lowercase o, lowercase d. And then you go to Instagram and it's the same TOTC underscore POD, all lowercase.
Yes, and as we come crashing down to the map on this episode of Top of the Cage, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. And if you are listening to us on Apple or Spotify and you do not leave us a 5-star review, that means that you, specifically you, that person not leaving us that 5-star review, will not get 5-star content, and that is just a fact.
Fact.
And again, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.